So today I'm going to show you how I make kombucha tea, which apparently is really good, and people want to know how I make it. So this is what I'm going to do. The first step is to actually make some tea. So this is hot water that was just boiling. These are gallon jars that I got, so 4 liters. The rest connects up here. And I usually, one of my kettles can do 2 batches if I fill them about half full. Usually one ends up with a little more than the other with water. So I'd say about 2 liters. I'm very much an intuitive cooker. So it's about even. So anywhere from 2 to 4 tea bags I would put in the 2 liters. Kind of just depends how strong I want it. I usually make at least one batch of Yellow Label, Lipton, or various other cheap tea because, well, it's cheap, and the kombucha likes cheap stuff, really. The nice orange pico gives it a really nice kind of apple cider vinegar sort of flavor, so today I'm actually making both batches this way. I find it's a really good way to revitalize the batch from an experiment. So if I put the mother from an experiment, one that didn't produce a very thick and healthy looking mother, I find that the mother from this, or SCOBY, will be all nice and happy after. So it's just sort of a way to treat the kombucha good for doing something a little different. So as you can see, the tea's steeping. And then after the tea steeped for, I don't know, about an hour, I'll take the bags out and add sugar, and I'll get back to you then. So it's been some time because I wasn't keeping track of time. And the water's cooled to warm enough that it's still a bit ouchy when I put my hand in to take the tea bags out, but not so warm as that I'm causing myself some scalding, burning pain and screaming like a little girl. I like to add the sugar at this point because I find it just dissolves better because, you know, the higher heat makes it dissolve better. The original recipe I was using called for like a 1/4 cup of sugar per 1 liter of water or tea. So I kind of still work with that. I've got a half cup and I'm using the white high processed refined sugar because I find it works really well at getting it nice and fuzzy, because the reason it's so bad for us is because it's so easily usable by our body. So it's easily usable by the microorganisms in the kombucha. So I'm putting like half a cup with a little more in. I like it fizzy, so I find if I add a little more sugar, then after I bottle it, it's you know, got sugar to work with to make the fuzziness, the carbonation with. So now that it's got the sugar, you can see it's the sugar settled to the bottom. I'm gonna just go grab a wooden spoon and stir it. I don't really think you want to see me stir it, but you know, we'll be back in a little bit once it's cooled down some more, so that we can put the mothers in and show you how I bottle the ready stuff. Yeah. And this is me stirring because, you know, when I said you didn't want to see me stirring it, you're like, well, maybe I do want to see you stirring it. Some of you at least. So yeah. Now it's stirred. There's not a bunch of sugar sitting on the bottom anymore. Making a sugar tea solution. So, we've got the tea that we've been brewing. It's probably about, I'd say, toddler bath water temperature, so tepid. A little bit above room temperature. And then this is my experiment from last time. It's a chai. The new mother's a little holy, but doing pretty good. So we're just going to reach in and take the mother out. some extra milk. I'm just checking for extra milk. Or the SCOBY. And we're going to put it into the nice warm hot sugary tea. And then we're going to put a cover on it to keep the fruit flies, etc. out. This is a washed, clean sheet that's been ripped so that we can do that. So then this is our prepared kombucha, and I'm going to bottle it in a sec. So for bottling, this is the chai that I just emptied, and I'm just pouring it in a funnel into these lovely pressure capped bottles. Usually about there's where I leave it. So I get these with like sparkling lemonade or pomegranate or whatnot. And so then usually I can fill 2 bottles-ish, and then I'll have enough to put on my actual other kombucha. So that's about good. This is how much I have left. So this is the kombucha, the prepared kombucha that you'll add to the sweet tea that we made today, the mother or SCOBY that we added, and then I always put the leftover from my 2 bottles, or at least a quarter to half a cup of kombucha back, and I always put it on top, because the reason that you're adding the prepared kombucha into your new kombucha batch is because the increased acidity of the prepared kombucha is going to help decrease the chance and make it a less happy environment for microbes that we don't want growing, so like mold and stuff. So I always like to put it on top of my SCOBY as kind of a defense mechanism. So it's too acidic here, so the mold won't come and eat it. And so then that's all good to go. So we've got the sweet tea, the SCOBY or mother, and then the kombucha from the previous batch that just goes on top. And of course I'm going to take some masking tape like you saw on the chai or duct tape in this case, tape, and I'm just going to write the type of tea I used and the date that I prepared it. So this kombucha has been brewing since the 18th of November. So not that long, about a week actually, because today is the 25th, so exactly a week. Sunday is kombucha day. And this is ready to go in the cupboard for at least a week. You can leave it in there for up to 6 weeks. The longer you leave it, the less sweet it's going to be, and the more vinegary it's going to get. And the little bit of sweet that it has, you can see there's a little bit of, I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of carbonation bubbles there already, because the mother makes a seal to help with carbonation. But this bottle is going to be a much better pressurized seal, so that the oxygen in here is going to be converted by the yeast in the kombucha into carbon dioxide, and it's going to make it really nice and bubbly. So I've got those 2 on the go, and I'm going to then show you guys just me doing the same thing with the Lipton tea that I had, so my other batch, and I'm just going to go right through it, no talk, really quick, okay? Well, probably talk because I can't shut up, but you know. Alright, so this is the Lipton Yellow. I'm doing a little bit of an experiment today with my Lipton Yellow. I'm going to do a second ferment with fruit juice. I'm going to see how this goes. I'm going to see how this goes. So this is the Lipton Yellow tea with sugar that I added. And this is my mother, who's looking a little sad. People would say that I have a SCOBY hotel going. Here is what's going on, because I haven't tossed my SCOBY from in here in a while. And I probably should just throw some of the SCOBY bits into my compost, but I really like it. Like, this is really old grody SCOBY. It's just something I have to do, but it's cold outside. This is a really thick SCOBY that has been really good to me, but starting to show its age, so there's all the SCOBY from in there, and then we're left with kombucha. I'm tossing the bit on top now because there's not a lot of room left, so. And there's just a little bit left here. Because I do the two, sometimes, oh, there's a little SCOBY kicking out as well. Sometimes if I have half and half left over, hidden bottom of the jar SCOBY. I'll just mix half and half of whatever 2 batches I had going at the time. But that's good to go now. And there we go. So these bottles I'll label, and there's 2 options. If you want it to be fizzy really soon and you don't have a lot of bottles on the go, then leave it at room temperature for a couple days, and just, you know, every day or so, just take the bottle facing away from yourself in a direction that if the lid happens to pop off isn't going to kill anything, and just open it, and you'll hear the pressure. There might be bubbling. It might bubble over, depending on how much pressure is built up with the yeast. The fruit juice ones I am most likely going to put straight in the fridge. So fridge is not the ideal temperature for the yeast to be acting. So it's going to slow down that process. It's still going to go. So if you leave it in the back of your fridge for 3 months, you might end up with it exploding. But with these pressure valves, I find that I have not had, knock on wood, an explosion yet. If I'm leaving them at room temperature, one thing that I do is I have a cooler that I put them in. Just at room temperature. It's just the cooler's there so that if there is an explosion, it doesn't put glass in somebody's eye, like the squealing baby you can hear. Yeah.